Hi, everybody. Welcome to Before It's Too Late. I'm Rich Carter. In this week's interview, you're going to meet Carl. Carl was downsized from his job, and after he watched some of our videos, including the one where Robbie was let go from hers, he thought he'd reach out and tell his story. Turns out his downsizing may have been a blessing in disguise, too. So stick around and you'll get Carl's story. But if you want to be a part of the channel, it'd be great if you'd reach out to me. Our email is beforeitstoolate2023@gmail.com. If you reach out to me, I'll reach back out to you and we'll set up a time for an interview. If you're someone who isn't having such a great time in retirement, we'd really like to hear from you too, because there's things that people can learn from you as well. So anybody out there who wants to and is willing to be on the channel, please reach out. And now, here's Carl. All right, so welcome to Before It's Too Late, Carl. I appreciate you reaching out to me and being willing to come on and tell the story of your retirement journey. So yeah, thanks a lot, and I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, Rich, for having me on. It's a different story, and I don't know if it's full retirement reinvention, but yeah, it definitely has been a journey over the last 12 months, and so happy to share it. And really, the takeaway is if one person get one little piece of nugget from anything
Right.
that I've experienced, it's good for us. That's kind of how I have the takeaway.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it too. So,
Yeah,
like, just to get started, why don't you tell us how old you are,
yeah,
how you started working, and that kind of thing, and then we'll, answer some questions, go through this as we go.
yeah. So Carl Swanson, obviously, Rich introduced me, and I am a Gen Xer on the top of the Gen X. So I turned 60 this year, and my professional journey is that I've been in product management into marketing, project management over the course of my career. So starting out as assistant product manager, working through to being a group marketing manager, and then being a director of product management. My last role was in a clinical research organization, but I've been in industries from automotive, heavy vehicle, industrial, following that whole path. And so, part of the retirement journey from those perspectives is that I really going from one industry to another in multiple companies. I really didn't have a solid pension program walking through those items.
Okay.
And
So, where are you at in the country?
I'm in Michigan,
Okay.
southern Michigan,
Okay.
and I live here. Obviously, a little bit about me. Background is married. Been married for 35 years to my beautiful wife Nancy. I have one daughter, just graduated from university this year, and she's now a fifth grade teacher. So she's learning a little bit of that uh, introduction into a classroom full of kiddos. And so part of what we enjoy that we'll bring into our retirement planning is I enjoy music, and we enjoy traveling together, and we have a motorhome or an apartment on wheels that we go across the country. Sometimes we stay down south because we're in Michigan. The winter's a little bit colder, so we'll venture down to the southern states for a couple months when we can. Uh, and we enjoy that as well. So it's kind of
Okay.
how we spend our time.
So, how we talked a little bit offline that your retirement was kind of forced on you, so to
Yeah.
speak. So,
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so the company I worked for last year, we did a first round of role eliminations because of the economy and things that we're going through, and also knew that we were going to do a second round. So I was part of the management team, fully understood there was a second round that we're walking through, uh, and knew that I had the potential to be one of those. Like anybody in the organization was up, and I had some major projects I was working on, so I was like, really not sure, but since I was 58, moving to be 59, I told my boss, I said, hey, one of the things I would like to do is moving into 2025, would love to go down to, lower hours per week. Let's just say it's 24 hours per week, something like that. And so it would be great to integrate something. So we'd been chatting something similar to that. And then when we also were going through this round, again, I know for some, this might not sound truthful, but it's truly coming from a good place. My team, I would rather myself be part of that role elimination than my team. I'm in a different spot in life, different area, and my team, most of them are younger, early in their careers, and that is truly my honest statement is that if it can be me, let it be me because I'm sure we'll be fine. Not from an egotistical standpoint, but I think, we're just at a different place in life. And
Okay.
so knowing those things, it was 3 days before my birthday and in 2024, got on my regular conference call with my boss and HR chimed in. And so I knew immediately at that point uh, what was going to occur.
Right.
And, I really enjoy working with my boss. Literally they're both like holding back tears in talking. And I'm just like, it's okay. It is okay. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. And again, we're all made differently. And so uh, I just absorbed what they were saying. And I was like, listen, I'm going to be okay. I understand this is what we do in business. And let's just move forward. Right.
So you had already kind of, I'm assuming you and your wife had talked about what this is going to look like if I'm the one that
No,
gets the axe, so to speak,
no,
right?
no,
No? Okay.
no, because although I knew it was a potential, I thought it was very, very small.
Okay.
Right. Because there wasn't any, usually, when yeah, I've been working there for almost 9 years. And the individuals I work with usually get kind of a leader that says, hey, hey, just want to let you know, or things like that. Uh, so anyways, that call wrapped up. They were like, obviously, do you need time? And I'm like, no, let's just move forward. They offered to send me, a UPS ticket to send all my stuff in. And Rich, it was truly amazing. I said, no, I'll bring it in. It was truly amazing to pack up 9 years. Like literally when I got off the phone, it was less than an hour
Okay.
to literally pack up my laptop, everything that I had, to just kind of make my office clean. I was surprised by that.
So you
I
you
was
were
like,
working from home mostly?
yeah, yep.
Okay.
So
And
remote, even though the office is only, 15 minutes away, we kind of pivoted it in for some reason business wise. Like if you're
Mhm.
considered remote, then if you're inside, there's, potential conflicts, accounting principles that you might violate if
Okay.
you have an office like that. So,
All
yeah,
right. So when they called you, then I mean, HR checks in. That's kind of then okay. Well,
yeah,
here we go, right?
yeah,
But you you didn't see it coming in the sense of uh, not today. It might have been coming down the road, but you didn't have the sense of that it was gonna. You were just looking forward to a call with your boss, and then
yeah,
bang,
yeah,
HR checks in, and next
yeah,
thing you know, you're done. And was it immediately like today?
yeah.
This is it.
Yep. Today's the day. Most of the time when you have remote workers, you're going to structure it so IT cuts off most of the time laptops are locked down, so they
Right.
can lock it down so you're not taking data that's in.
Right.
And I would never do that anyway. It's like learned a long time ago. You never keep anything personal on a company laptop.
Yep.
You just and I teach that to anybody that I work with is don't do it, right? Uh, but the neat thing, Rich, is that yeah, that you do go through some emotions during that process, but near the end of the day, and for anybody who is, let's just say Christian based, you'll recognize this because the peace that surpassed all understanding was just
Yes.
it. And I knew it was interesting because I knew it was the right thing.
Right.
And I just wasn't making the call. And I believe God had put that plan in place because I wasn't making the call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gives you
And,
that push, right? Like, okay,
right.
if you're not gonna do it yourself, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it for you,
Right.
and we're gonna see. Now we're gonna go where I want to go,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Uh, so my wife, took another couple of days. She didn't handle it quite as well. Uh, but when she was driving home, from she's a consultant she's retired out of the school system here in the state of Michigan. She was a assistant superintendent in business. So she does consulting work.
Okay.
And I wish she's very dedicated to it. She started at 16, so she could retire at, I believe it was 46, 48 out of the school system. And she's
Okay.
been consulting since. So that's what that she does. But she had to drive home from one of her consulting roles. And on that drive home, the same thing happened to her. And she
This,
knew, she was like, yep, I'm fine with it. Everything's good. Let's move
oh,
forward.
you're saying the same thing happened where she kind of had the
Yeah.
revelation that
Yep.
this is all part of God's plan and we're good.
Yep. Yep. And
Okay.
so she was, from that point, she was good. So at that point, Rich, what we did is, we, we, we did have a financial planner that we worked with. We've done so for many years. Well, probably about 10 years ago we started. And the reason why is because my wife came to me one day and she goes, "When do you think you should retire?" And I said, I was thinking 65 is normal. Why not 62? That's a little bit early.
Okay.
And she goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, "When do you think I should retire?" She was 55. I said,
Wow. Okay.
okay, I thought that was a little early, but knowing my wife, very smart, I said, "You know what?" I said, "I'm going to go see a financial planner." Because in my mind, I was like, I'll let the financial planner tell her that's really not possible, right? Instead of me. And so I got everything ready. We went in to give all the information to the financial planner. This was the first one that we had worked with, and got us to come in. And he said, "Carl and Nancy, typically when somebody like Carl comes in and tells me what you want to do and the ages that you guys want to go," he goes, it's not going to work, but I do the work, right? We'll do the math because we'll put a plan in place." He said, "Fortunately, you guys can. And the reason why you can is because of the healthcare benefit that you have from the retirement program in the state of Michigan."
Okay.
He said, "That changes everything for you guys."
Right.
And I was like, okay. So anyways, Rich, we did, so we did sit down with a financial planner. We did know, and I'm not saying that, because you're going to have tens of millions of dollars in retirement. He was just saying, based upon the budget you guys put together in retirement, you're going to be able to, be there. But when 55 came, it was like, hey, we're good. There's no need. Don't really feel like rushing out and doing things right now. So the really thought was, is I get into the 59 in 2025 and just start doing part-time and ease into retirement.
Okay.
But the surprise was that interaction no longer allowed me the opportunity to plan a little bit more,
Okay.
uh, to what retirement I was going to retire to. Rather, it showed me that you don't have a job today, so you need to make a decision what you do moving forward. Running back a few steps. So my wife and I, we did go to the financial planner that we have now and walked in and said, "Well, this is our plan." Again, my wife still does consulting roles. And again, she has a pension from the state of Michigan. And so, and then we have all of the investments have been through my programs that I've had at
Mm-hmm.
work. And so that's where we did all of our investments from a 401k perspective. And so our retirement plan was based upon the budget that you guys have set. He said, "Yeah, you're good." And so my plan was, hey, I want to move forward. And first of all, I started looking for full-time gigs right away because we had being let go, had a job coach program that they put in
Mm-hmm.
place for us so that we could work forward. And while I was doing that, we had a vacation plan out to Washington. During that time, it was, after our discussion, it was like, no, let's do life more. There's a reason, right? So let's do life more. And
Okay. When you got let go, then your thought was, okay, well, I'm not done working. I'm going to find something
right,
else.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so
yeah.
did it ever just cross like that first day? How long did it take you to get to the realization that I'm not supposed to work, at least not full time?
That was so we had a vacation planned, and during that time, I want to say it was 6 weeks.
Okay.
So it was like 6 weeks after that said, uh, the plan is not to work full time. And
Nice.
so
Okay.
we were able to meet with the financial planner, our current financial planner, and say, "This is the thought process. this is all the investments that we have. I make zero the rest of this year. I make zero next year. What does it look like? Even though
Hmm.
I'm still, I would say there's a couple things that I'm working on because I want to do a few things other than just what we call just retire. So
Okay.
yeah, during that 6 week time frame, uh, it was another sign shown to me during that time. And that was is that I've been working on just a very small issue um, for my throat, just a slight cough. And as a result, they did a CT scan of my body. Right,
Okay.
well, from the neck down, if you will, or the face down. And I got a call, and the doctor said, "Well, you have coronary artery disease."
Okay.
And I was like, "What?" She goes, "Well, you have a calcium score. You need to see a cardiologist." And I was like, background real quick is that when I had COVID, I had a bad reaction. My heart raced. I went into the emergency room. They said my troponin level was up, which is a level, a chemical in your body that goes up, spikes when you're having a heart attack. They said we can't put you on a stress test. We need to do a heart cath. And I worked in the business I was in. We had world-renowned cardiologists on staff, so heart was pretty easy, and they could talk to my wife and let her know. But it was clean, Rich. They went in, did a heart cath, and it was clean. And
Okay.
so to hear 3 years later that something is developed, I was mesmerized. But fortunately, again, some great doctors were put in my lane and a lot of preventive. So I went, I was suggested that I go to preventive cardiologists instead of prescription-based cardiologists.
Hmm.
And been working with him over for the last 12 months, and in every one of the indicators you can imagine, they do like 60 blood indicators to really get you in. And most of it was done through whole food plant-based uh, dieting. And
Okay.
so fortunately that was put in my road on my path as well. And it said, it was just another indicator to my wife and I that live life.
Right.
Right? So stop working, live life. And granted, everything is fine for me. There wasn't anything that was super abnormal within those scores, et cetera,
Okay.
other than, take care of it. And I was very blessed to have it taken care of now than knowing later. And
Okay. So you get let go,
yeah,
then you get kind of this little bit of a health scare,
yeah, right,
and those things are all pointing to, okay, how long am I gonna try to run on the hamster wheel? Maybe I need to
right.
start doing some of the stuff that we, I guess, that we work towards, right? Like
Yeah,
having
right.
some time and be able to like set your own schedule, and hey, if I want to drop it all and go to Florida for a couple months, I'm going to do that, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever, whatever your choice is. But so that those realizations came at you, and while you were in those first few weeks, just I know you mentioned that, similar to my wife's story, she got let go too. She
Yeah.
started looking for another job. Did you, kind of on a side note, did you find that people aren't real jumping at hiring a 59-year-old guy?
So that's I wrote down a couple of my surprises, right? In one was one of my surprises was I was like, I felt like, wow, my experience and everything, I'm gonna get a lot of interviews, et cetera. And so working with a job coach in the first couple months I'm in the state of Michigan, you also review unemployment benefits, right? And so you have to submit for applications, and I'm doing it anyway as part of the process in the beginning. And I could probably pull up the spreadsheet with 100 plus jobs on it, and maybe 2 or 3 interviews or requests for interview before said I'm looking for more part-time things. And
Okay.
even the part-time things are very difficult to find part-time roles,
Uh-huh.
right? In outside of what I want to say, my area of expertise. So consulting in these particular areas, uh, let's say takes they're looking for, different education. I call it fractional employment.
Okay.
But yes, I could find work, but I'm really looking for work in my field, and
Right.
a lot of those are not on a part-time basis. But yeah, I was very surprised by that. Very
Yeah.
surprised. So
Okay.
yeah. what I did from there is I also, started up a website to see if I could get some feelers there. Then I did LinkedIn outreach, and I probably outreached 300 different contacts on LinkedIn, right? So I got a pretty good list of contacts there, and still, it's not a lot of work is come from that. So, but I enjoy doing different things. So having a marketing background, product marketing background,
Okay.
product management. So I might end up doing TikTok shop or things like that, right? Something to just try different things. And so that's what I'm really looking at now is, uh, trying different things.
So that's one of the benefits, right? Is that now you have
Yeah.
this time and you can pick a lane and drive down it. And if there seems to be a roadblock, you can change lanes. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that as we're doing that, in kind of my concept is I would still, and I call it retirement or reinvention because you do get to pick and select. But I would
Mhm.
really like to, what would be the ultimate for me just right now in my life? I would say it's 16 to 24 hours doing that kind of professional type of role. In the remaining part of the weeks, or even if it's just 16 hours a week, is then using those remaining to, give back to community, to
Mhm.
do work for church, just giving back in
Okay.
using that because I know there's a tremendous amount of value. I work with our church. I do a lot of IT work with our church. Work with our church too. I'm kind of the doge at church, so when we see bills and things of that nature, I go in and I look for different suppliers, and
Okay.
and I've been doing that, helping out the church. Uh, but so it's kind of filling my time
How
as
about
well.
so it sounds like in general, since
Yeah,
you're kind of forced retirement, you're pretty happy.
yeah, yeah. I would say right now, there is, you know, outside of the normal things that are in daily lives, that yeah, yeah, I'm fairly
Okay.
happy. Yep.
So what has there been anything besides the not able to just jump into another job, any other kind of negative surprises about your retirement?
Well, I would say the surprises uh, the negatives. No, I don't think about a lot of negatives. Really,
Okay.
the only negative is I would really like to speed up my process of my alternative side hustles, right? So whether
Okay.
that's more work at church and volunteering, et cetera, in in the community, or whether it is consulting type roles or things of that nature.
How
But
about the
really,
have you found it tough to adjust to just the idea of being retired? Like,
yeah, because I don't think I really have, and
okay.
I really don't because I get up at a normal time. Still, I get up 6:15 in the morning. I'm up here on my computer. I look for a couple of the part-time items. I do fill up my schedule. Obviously, I agree with the terminology people use, and they say it's not, at least in my case, and many others that I've listened to, it's not that you're not busy,
Right.
right? It's like you're constantly doing things. It's just a choice of what you get to do versus being told what to do.
It's pretty
And
freeing, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Okay,
So
so now you were forced into it. If you could go back 5 years, would you maybe have adjusted your timeline and saying, "Okay, maybe 60 is the time."
yeah, if I were to go back 5 years, I would say eh, over here on the shelf, you can't see it, but there's all the retirement books and software, software happy and all these type of books over here, right? And I haven't read every single one of them because I was like, hey, I'm gonna get to that, right? I'm gonna get to that, and the day was put on me. But yeah, because I think it would be, it's fine exactly how old I am. The
Okay.
preference would be to plan to retire too. And I was retired. I would say, yeah, I could get another job, except, but I kind of on that day was retired versus retiring and planning to someday.
Okay.
So there's always been a plan in place, and we've been pretty, you know, our retirement journey is, you know, again, we typically have lived off one of our incomes because we're both professionals, and we grew up very, very. I want to say we grew up in very modest household.
Hmm.
Very, we didn't have things growing up, but we had the things that mattered.
Right.
And so, yeah, we didn't have a few things growing up, but you know, and and so my wife and I have been that way most of our lives, and so we've been pretty good savers. We're probably going back a little bit further. I would say put a little bit more in, uh, and prepare. But I mean, we've been very blessed and humbled to be in the position that we're in, to be able to sit here and say, yeah, we're okay.
So
You know,
is your wife stepping away from her consulting stuff a little more too then?
she is she tries to, but there's so much work with the organizations that she works with that she does want to. Again,
Okay.
we we have our we really enjoy traveling, and so we have our motorhome. We really want to do a little bit more with that, and so to free up the time, do some more things remotely for her. A lot of times she has to be on site. We're really looking forward to that, as well as we
Okay.
enjoy vacations to other places as well. So we did Costa Rica with some friends last year. We really, I should say earlier this year, and we really enjoyed that as well.
Okay. So, all right. So then you mentioned already, if you could go back further, you'd tell yourself save even more.
Yeah,
Um, what about, is there anything you'd tell your 40-year-old self about preparation besides the money piece? And I'm thinking like, and when I think about like my wife's situation and even my situation, no job is guaranteed. Like
yeah,
don't get too comfortable, right? Maybe, and I've told my daughter this, she's only in her 20s, like, hey,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with keeping your resume fresh, right?
yeah,
And kind of always kind of on the lookout for what you really want to do, because so many people get into a job where it's not it's not really filling their bucket, and they're just doing it because they're afraid to move on. But I guess if I was looking back, I'd tell myself, don't be so scared of taking that step, right? Of taking any step.
right. I agree with that standpoint. Is that I said the younger we are, we may be more, you know, the thought process that I developed going through school was get a great job, get a job, work, go to college, get your education. And there was less on the risk side of I've always wanted to be in business on my own, right?
Okay.
But never jumped,
Okay.
right? Never jumped into anything, being in marketing, we're always creative ideations and, many different products that sit around in the closet or something that go, oh yeah, I could have built that. I did that when I was 23. Why didn't I never, it was
Right.
all, how do you do it? What is the risk? And I would say, a couple things in planning preparation that I agree with you is that, don't tie your, and I think that's one of the things that led me so quickly through that discussion I had with my boss in HR was I didn't hold myself as my job. And, because we just value other things in life,
Yeah, your identity. If
you
your
know?
identity is not your job, like,
Yeah.
we're both Christians, so if your identity
Yeah.
is more with Christ, then
Yeah.
all these obstacles that might get thrown at you are just something that you step over and move on.
Yeah. I would say to my younger self, I would say, hey, be a little bit more proactive. And again, this is on the financial side too, but it is, test your plans and your budget, set a plan in place, be a little bit better with your goal setting and really what you're looking at longer term, uh, and test your budgets, right?
Okay.
Uh, because the one thing, again, I know this is financial, the one thing you can get into is that habit of savings and
Yeah.
in not really truly knowing how much you spend. And so that really was awakening to me when this happened last year, and we started going, okay, this is our new pile of income that we're going to live from, which was 60% less than what we're used to,
Right.
right? And it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And there's not one bill that doesn't get paid. There's not one thing we don't do.
Yep.
There's not. And it's because we were saving, and what we weren't saving in the 401k was going in our bank account, and it was just there. And so we didn't recognize. I'm glad we're on that side of the pendulum
Yeah.
that there's enough there to cover those. So I feel very blessed. But you test your budget, because I think testing it earlier,
Hmm.
we would have known that it would have been 55,
Yeah.
right? Like the financial planner said 10 years ago. Oh yeah, you can do that 55. But when you're saving, you don't see those dollars. They're building up. You don't recognize. We never did a budget because we ran always under one income.
Yep.
So it's like, as long as we're there, we're good. And to really test it and see, do the litmus test, and does your budget work? And so
Okay.
we've been very fortunate that it has.
All right. Well, I guess then again, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah.
I- any other parting words of wisdom for anybody that might watch this?
Parting words of wisdom. Again, even though forced, I'm still, going through that process, even, you know, 10, 12 months later, going through that process of, you know, who do I want to be in retirement? Right.
Okay.
And is that, involve, part-time work? Does it, and I'm already doing the component around, giving back a time and things like that. But does it involve more work? But I'm still, mentally going through that process of, you know, and maybe, I don't know, maybe in the next 6 months or a year, I'll be fully, no, don't need to
You
even
figure it
worry about
out.
that, because I'm just
Yep.
doing it out, and I'll figure out. But the thing is that, I'll keep doing my actions of what I want. I know that it's God's plan, not mine, and to just listen and look for the signs that I should be paying attention to. And I try to focus on that daily to remind myself to see those things.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, Carl, thanks for taking the time.
All right.
I'm
Well, thank you,
hopefully
Rich.
someone will get a nugget from this. Even when life throws a curveball at you, um, God's got you, and
Oh, yeah.
it's going to work out, and not to be so fearful of the unknown, or even the partially known, because chances are God's going to work it all out for the good, right?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
I think most of the time for some of us, it feels more fearful to go into that unknown, but testing it out can help. That's my
Okay.
recommendation. All right. Thanks, Rich.
All right. Thanks
Appreciate
a
you.
lot. And everybody, I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Carl here today. So um, I'm going to keep doing these interviews. If anybody else out there wants to reach out to me, you can find my information in the about section of the channel, and send me an email, and we'll set something up. Carl and I emailed back and forth for a couple days, then we got this figured out. So it's no big deal, pretty casual, but everybody likes to hear successes, and I know there's some failures out there, so, or people that aren't happy in retirement. I'd like to hear from you too. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching us, and God bless.